Hello, my name is Rola Simco, and this is my project for our Capstone project. I decided to research project-based learning in the multi-age classroom. I've been teaching for 8 years now, and this is my first year in a multi-age math class. So I teach 5th and 6th graders at the same time for 90 minutes a day, 3 blocks a day. So my questions were, can I use project-based learning to help students in multiple grades at varying levels receive a quality 21st century math education all while in the same room? And I put this as my homepage because through my research I found out that all good project-based learning activities start with a driving question. So this was my driving question through my research. Can I actually implement project-based learning the way it's supposed to be and still have my students receive a quality education while covering the standards necessary? So let's get started. This is just explaining why I chose it. In a single math class, I will answer the same question multiple times. When it's possible for the student to implement some critical thinking skills or some logic to answer it themselves, but I find that they get stuck and they rely on me a lot, and I wanted to figure out how I can teach them to rely on themselves and outside resources besides me, because I won't always be there to answer their questions. When they move on to high school or college or get a job, there won't always be someone there to answer your questions, and you're going to have to figure out how to solve these problems on your own. So I wanted them to be better at problem solving. I also wanted them to work on their critical thinking skills, because I've noticed that a lot of times if a question is just worded a little bit differently, they don't understand the question anymore. It's not that they don't know the math, but they can't seem to apply what they learned in one question to another one. Okay. So to help me implement project-based learning, I'm going to use these resources in class. So we currently use Khan Academy, and I think it's a great source for kids to watch a video demo of one of the topics that we're learning about, and they get to do unlimited practice problems in it to help them at home or at school or during their aftercare programs. Just a little bit of extra math that's not paper and pencil based. The answer pad, which I learned about at the Math and Science Think-In with the Idea Stream this year. It is an app that allows you to create classes and upload your students, and I can create assessments or daily check-ins or reviews. The students can answer multiple choice questions or fill in, or they can draw graphs or charts, and this is all done through their device. I would also like to use ClassHub. So ClassHub is a paid app, and I'm currently talking to one of the representatives to figure out the pricing for my class and their school. But it allows me to monitor all of my students' devices from my own. So they would log into ClassHub and then go about their work, and I have access to all of their screens at any given time. So if they go to a website that I feel they should be in, I can block it, or I can freeze their screens if I have directions to give, or I can send out a website that they can all see on their screens at the same time. I would also like to use Google Classroom just as a way to organize all their projects and have them upload assignments. And that way I can also upload videos of lessons or anything to help them with their work at home. So it'll be a good way for them to log in and a good way for their parents to log in as well to see what we're doing in class. Problematic would be the last website that I would use. There's a free portion, which is really good, and then there's the paid portion, which doesn't really add on that much more. But it allows me to create and save PDF documents of test-style questions, and they're all state-released test questions from ELA to math, science, social studies, and varying grade levels. So I can get like a well-worded question just as an intro, as a bell work, as an exit ticket to kind of sum up what we did that day. So in addition to these apps some of the projects that I would like to do. So I got all of my projects from Teachers Pay Teachers, and the description is also from Teachers Pay Teachers to describe the projects. Now, as I was doing my research, some of the cons of project-based learning was that teachers felt that the content got away from them. So because students are very much on their own learning path, not all the standards get covered, and sometimes the rubric or the syllabus kind of goes out the window, which gave me a little bit of pause because I do have certain standards that I need to cover by the end. So I went on to Teachers Pay Teachers to see if I could find any good project-based learning that would match the standards that I teach in a year for 5th and 6th grade. And they had a few great ones, and these are just a portion of the ones. Now, there's a lot of projects on this page, but I plan to do this throughout the entire school year next year. So I'm going to start in August introducing the new tech and the new class style, and we're going to carry it through until the end of the 2017-2018 school year. So the first project that I got is called The Island, and it is cross-curricular with math and language arts and social studies. And after speaking to my team that also teaches ELA and social studies, they agree that it'd be a great project for us to do as a whole. So for the math portion, it does cover area and perimeter and volume, and it does have word problems, problem solving, making inferences. Another one that I would like to use is creating maps of your school using the coordinate planes. So the students would have to measure and map out our school and then plot various rooms or floors on a grid using the 4 quadrants. Now this would be really good for 6th grade as they start into the 4 quadrants. 5th grade is just quadrant 1. So they just have an X and a Y. They don't get into the negatives of the X or the Y. So I can vary that one between the 2 grade levels. The third project I would like to use is Welcome to the Real World. And it basically covers financial literacy, and it's geared towards 5th grade, but I can incorporate some 6th grade elements as well. So they're going to have to do taxes, income, budgets, ways to pay these things. It's going to use order of operations and decimals and fractions to help complete their project. And it does require some research as they need to choose what type of job they're going to be doing, how much it pays, and what type of house they live in, what type of car they're going to drive. This one I thought was really cool, called Build a Tiny House. So it's area perimeter, and I can incorporate volume and surface area for grade 6. And I can also have them do shapes other than squares or triangles or rectangles. I can include trapezoids, parallelograms into their houses to make it a little more complex for them. And then have also my 6th graders find surface area and the volume of these various shapes. They can also build a geometric city, which would be the same types of math concepts. A great one that I found was running a taco truck. So they essentially have to create a taco truck business. They find their ingredients, how much the pricing is, what it's going to cost them, what they're going to sell it for, and how they're going to, the size of their taco truck. Is it going to be big? Is it going to be small? Gas consumption, how much does gas cost per gallon? And then this one is involving the metric system. So it starts with, it's just a question of, in this one it's Taylor Swift, but my kids are a big fan of Beyonce, so I'd have to change it to Beyonce. That her tour manager just quit, and she has to make it to all these cities on time in the most economical way. She likes everything neatly printed on a sheet of paper so she can look at it quickly, and she has certain requirements that need to be on her bus, and the students need to find out how they are going to solve all these issues for Beyonce. Because if they solve them, then they have a chance to be her opening act on her tour. Variable codes. You're given a mission by the NYPD, but for us it'll be the Cleveland Police Department, and they're going to have to figure out how to complete the task. So it's just expressions and equations, and they need to use those expressions and equations to figure out what the secret code is. And then let's scroll down a little bit. The Lemonade War is great for my 5th graders because fractions is a huge part of 5th grade, and I find it's something they struggle with a lot. So this will cover mixed numbers and improper fractions, multiplying, simplifying, which is a huge thing, and converting from fractions to mixed numbers and vice versa. And then this I thought would be a good end of the year type project. This one I have students research various jobs at certain degrees, so with an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, a PhD, what job you could get and what your wages would be versus having a high school diploma, a GED, or no college degree at all. And they would then have to compare the information, choose and create the correct type of graph to use to present their information, and then find means and averages. So that would be really great for my 6th graders and something to think about before they head off to 7th grade, where they start, in our school at least, filling out high school applications. Okay. So next, the standards that I'm going to use for these assignments, I go based off of the Ohio State standards, so they've just been revised as of February 2017. So I will be using the 5th and 6th grade standards, and they're not significantly different, but there are some differences. So they do now give you the critical areas, like main things to focus on, but they also provided that when they gave the AIR blueprints. If you're familiar, the ODE has released blueprints of the AIR testing and what percentage of certain types of questions will be on them. And those are the new 6th grade revised standards. Okay, and those are the ones that I'll be going off for the year. My research included some great articles, and I found a wonderful website by the Buck Institute for Education, and they are all about project-based learning and how it can be helpful in the classroom and what you can do to properly implement it. So I've ordered 2 books, the Project-Based Learner Starter Kit and Ideas for Proper Implementation. So that'll be some light summer reading before I get started next year. And then this is just a link to the peer review. If you have a minute, that would be great. And that is kind of an overall look at project-based learning and what I would like to do in my classroom next year. Reading the pros and cons of project-based learning, I may have to modify it slightly just to be able to get all the standards in, because project-based learning is an all or nothing concept. So I want to try and incorporate as much as I can of the students guiding their own learning, but at the same time still gear them towards the proper standards that I need them to cover. So I hope this PLN was helpful and it explained what it was supposed to explain, project-based learning in the multi-age classroom. If you could take a few minutes to review it, that would be great. Thank you.